Yeah.
So this is quite intense because you're at the stage where perhaps you just, everything you're trialing, everything you're doing is not good enough, or is not pushing you to where you want to be.
Yeah.
And it's that burnout mode, isn't it?
But I feel like it takes time, doesn't it, to get to burnout mode? And I feel like there's reasons why you get to burnout mode, isn't there? So you're probably just doing everything yourself. You're not using your team or structuring the team in a way that you can actually have some breathing space.
Yeah.
Don't you think? Because I've been there as well, when I felt like, you just feel your head's going to explode. You haven't got enough time or energy to do it, and you just feel like you want to give up.
Yeah.
But it's not because you don't love the business or you don't love what you do, but you just can't see a way out. And the more you're working, the more work it churns up, and it's kind of like that. So you need to step back and not start again, but you need to look at how you're working and what you're doing.
I think it's so difficult because when I meet people sometimes who say I'm on a burnout mode, and you kind of listen to them and it's like, maybe not, it's just purely the structure that's not serving you.
Yeah.
When you're on a real burnout, you actually unable to function on the day-to-day. So it's having that, I think that word also has come across throughout the years of like, I'm burnt out. Are you, or is it purely the revisiting of your to-do list, your time management, your structure, like you said, who's helping you with what, in order to be able to have that headspace? Yeah. Sometimes as a business owner, you just never able to have that headspace, really. No. So taking that step away, we took a whole week away to work on strategy, and we encourage that with our members, that take that step away. But when you are in a real burnout mode, you're not even aware you are. You can't
function at all, can you?
I think so.
But I also think it's that it comes back to that whole thing of letting go again, doesn't it? Because if you can't let go of certain areas of the business and you do hang on to it, then you are going to feel overwhelmed. And there's, and more often than not, it's a struggle, isn't it? Because number one, people don't know necessarily, or you don't feel people do things the way you want them to do it.
Yes.
And that you know how to do everything best and so on. But it is a process of letting go and trusting. But before you can even do that, you need to understand what each person in the business, what role they play, and also push towards their qualities and their strengths, isn't it?
Totally. And I feel there's an element of, a lot of time the day-to-day operation takes over.
Yeah.
And it's that day-to-day that you planning to do something and you're thinking, today I'm going to do this, or I've listened to the time management on this book, that book, I've listened to what we say, and I'm going to do my time management. And then Monday arrives, and someone phones off sick, and someone is not having a good day because they watch too much Netflix, and another person, so they're tired in the morning, and another person comes in and gives you the whole speech about why they're tired and why they can't handle it. So you feel you have to handle your stuff. You're frustrated because you haven't got time to do what you set out to do.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, you've got everyone else's emotion to deal with. So you're pushing your emotions down there for a lot of time.
Yeah, and you may well have children at home.
Yeah.
A family, the cooking and shopping to do, and everything else. And it's how can you successfully do everything without feeling. I mean, and it always sounds, I think, so cliche when you say you've got to take time out in order to get back on track, because then they're like, well, but I haven't got any time.
Yes, yeah.
And then, but you have, and everyone has. I mean, we talk all the time, don't we, about when people talk about no time and so on. I mean, we say it and then we're like, okay, hang on, let's look at this. There is time, because you make time for the important things, but it's easier to be kept in that rolling state of, I've never got enough time, and I can't do that, and I can't do this. I mean, we were talking about something to do with that this morning, actually, weren't we?
Yeah, for sure, exactly.
And it's
because you're not making it a priority.
Yes.
And you're not making yourself that priority. And for me, when I was speaking to someone not long ago, and it was all about I'm on burnout, and it's like, you're not. You're simply managing your time not necessarily efficiently. You've not thought about the strategy. We need to structure your time. And she's on her own. She's a business owner on her own. So it can be even more difficult when you're on your own. You have no one to offload to and everything else. So what can we do to outsource the difficulties when I really dig down on it? On the Sunday afternoon, she's sitting there doing her VAT receipts. Why are we doing the VAT receipts on the Sunday afternoon? Phone the accountant. How much does that cost for him to deal with all of this? You know, and next thing you know, it's only £100 more a month. Do that. Invest in yourself to have that headspace. Because that burnout that you're feeling, maybe you are feeling you're a bit on that brink of that burnout. I'm definitely want to make sure that you don't think I'm dismissing it.
No.
Because of course it is, and it is a lot to deal with. But are you serving yourself as well?
Yeah, and I think actually that's quite an interesting point, because again, I remember when I had the clinic that it was very much, there were things that I could pass out, like social media, like the bookkeeping and that sort of thing, because you normally tend to start on the direction that you're doing everything, and then it's the difficulty of delegating or handing it out, or thinking, but that's going to cost £100 and that's going to cost this. But then actually I think the cost to yourself, yes, you could have another £200 in your pocket, but the cost to yourself of that time that you're spending on a Sunday when you want to be with your children or whatever it is actually far outweighs the fact that you're going to have a couple of £100 less.
Absolutely, and you're going to feel better. So if you feel better, everything around you feels better.
Exactly.
And I think that's the key as well. So when we feel, and we do talk to a lot of people in particular since the pandemic of, you know, I want to put the keys under the door. You know, I've had enough, I can't handle this and that happens a lot. And we have had some clients that have gone through that experience. But I think what I feel that there's a lot of news and social media being very dramatic out there, but to anyone that does that, there is a story behind why they're putting the keys under the doors, and they have something else to fall back on. You know, whether it is I'm just going to take time out for a little bit, is it? No, it's not as I'm just putting the keys under the doors because of everything that's going on. It's kind of looking at, okay, what is my plan B? What else can I do? And am I really feeling that I can do that and I want to do that?
What is it that you want to do? So if I draw back on my own experience and I think about times when I felt like that, it isn't because, you know, you've had enough, because you love what you do. I absolutely loved what I did.
The passion is lost a little bit.
But because, so it's not that can't be found again. It's that you've just got to know where to start when you're feeling in that place, but also you've got to be open to the fact that things have to change. And how can you go about doing that? So if we look at the question again in terms of, I feel on the brink of burnout, what do I do? Then I suppose it would be stripping it right back first and foremost to what's the structure, who does what, what are you doing that you could delegate. Okay, it might, I mean, I remember when I first took on a manager and we spent so much time together, but you have to be willing, and that I do find that sometimes with people that we speak with, or maybe some clients as well, is it's not, you're not giving the time to the people that you're handing over to, so they are going to fail because you're not investing that time. So, and again, even though you might not have the time, if you spend the time, then that will come back to you. It will be rewarded.
For sure.
But you've got to give it that.
We get a lot of clients who have actually managed to kind of have that headspace and manage the manager and etc. But the manager is now stressed. So because again the structure or the time we're giving them for admin is not enough, etc. So I mean that's kind of another topic altogether, but it kind of is all linked, isn't it?
It is.
And if you don't feel the passion anymore, is the answer putting the keys under the doors? And if yes, and you can't see any other solution because you're really not feeling it anymore, that's okay. And that's fine. There'll be another solution as long as you're preparing that exit. But if you're doing it on a whim and thinking, I've just had enough, I'm out, that's never a good answer to your solution, because you're possibly jumping from one
fire.
Difficult, one fire to another, really, isn't it? Because you've not thought about the structure behind, or you've not thought about where you want to go and the strategy behind what next.
And if you take a lot of our clients at the moment, or new ones that we've had recently, and they're feeling that, but they've got such a good business and the business is thriving, but they're feeling very weighed under. And all we've done really is tweaked a few areas. And like I was saying, there's sometimes as an owner you are a bit, you try and keep hold of it and you don't want to give it over. But as and when they do, that's when they start to become free of that everyday operation. What it is being able to step out of the everyday operation slightly. That gives you breathing space, but to do that you need to understand your structure, you need to understand the operations and the systems, but so does your team. And equally you need to, so they all need to understand it, and you need to make a very clear decision about what it is you're going to do in the business and where you're best used in the business, because that isn't everywhere and it isn't micromanagement. We know that from seeing it. I know it from doing it. As long as you are very clear on who does what, when things happen. I mean, so many places, don't they? They don't have there's no set strategy or set thing in place of who does what and when. It's just kind of, and I've done it before, we just work on a kind of wheel and you're sort of just fighting.
Or it's kind of set but not set. It's set in your mind, but it's not set within the structure of the business. So we kind of all know we need to do that in the morning, but we're not really putting a lot of structure around it. If that person goes on holiday, what happens, who does it, etc. Because my favorite saying, a system is not a system if it relies on one person. So a lot of time when you do feel on that burnout, and what we have seen, and you feel like giving it all up, 80% of the time it's because you haven't thought of those processes and those systems in order for them not to rely on your shoulders constantly. But I was thinking of something as you was talking as well about a member that we currently have at the moment who phoned me and said, oh my god, this person, this manager that we've invested in, did coaching with, etc., is going through a hard time. She needs to cut down her hours and she needs to go through things, and of course, because she's tasted the freedom of being able to have that time out to change her role. Her role is completely different from when I first met her to what it is now. Her role is a lot more working on building the business forward, on having time out, enjoying life a little bit. And that's amazing. That's what she wanted, and she's got that. So now she's thinking, oh no, I'm going to have to go back to the operation. But actually, when we really discussed it, it's like the systems are here. It's not like you're starting a scratch from when you first got a manager. The systems are here, so it will never be as bad as it was the first time. Not bad. Don't want to use that word, but it will never be that as difficult as it was the first time, because you've got it all. We've got the procedure, we've got the process. We just need to find a solution on how to support this manager, because we don't want to lose her, and how we're going to ensure that those days are covered by maybe pulling someone up from the team as a team leader, maybe giving the reception a little bit more power, maybe assessing who can help around, maybe assessing your role again. So I think a lot of time we underestimate, because we're in such an operational day-to-day basis business, we actually underestimate the fact that you are able to step away and the business needs to be flexible. Your mind needs to be flexible, because if it is, you can overcome those little things.
And they're going to happen all the time.
It will.
I mean,
it's people by people for people, isn't
exactly. You're never going to get it to a place where you want it and then it stays like that forever. And that's the thing, is learning to be, it's part of leadership, isn't it? Learning to be flexible. It's one of the main soft skills, is that you have to be flexible, and you have to realise that problems are going to come up all the time. So it's how you deal with them and how you look at and view them, I think.
But if you're on that burnout mode, it's hard.
It's so hard to. I mean, I remember as well when I had the business that I was, it wasn't just help in the business as well, it was help outside of the business, you know, having 2 young children. And I mean, it sounds crazy, but I got someone to do all of my stocking filler wrapping.
Yeah.
You know, and that really helped, because that was like a whole day I'd spend doing that. But those are the things that would stress me outside of work, that then I feel so pulled between things. So it's having help outside and inside of the business. But I feel like, so if someone feels burnt out right now, I feel like the first steps they need to take, I mean, obviously it would be amazing if they could take a week out just to...
I know, but a lot of time because they can't allow themselves to do that.
No, so I feel like the first and foremost things are to... I keep telling everyone this right now, and I don't know why, but is to kind of get those flip chart papers on the floor and be a kid again and write down, put you in the centre, write down who does what.
I love that.
Yeah, well, we do it, don't we?
I know we do it because I love it. It just gets everything on from your brain on paper, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
And journaling. I'm a huge fan of journaling, as I said to you, you know, in the morning, waking up. A lot of time when we're on that burnt out mode is we suppress our emotions because we're not putting ourselves first. So we tend to be, oh, it's fine, I'll just think about that later. Oh, I feel a bit down, but I'll think about that later. Oh, I feel like this, but I'll think about that later. I don't have time to think that way. And then next thing you know, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 1 month, 3 months have passed and you still feel the same and you're still not able. So journaling for me in the morning has been amazing. Before I do even anything, just write down my thoughts, so how I feel physically, how I feel emotionally, you know, what's my intention for the day and what am I grateful for. Little things. It doesn't have to take a whole, you know, half an hour of Dear Diary. It's just accepting that sometimes you can feel annoyed and sometimes you can feel angry and sometimes you can feel fed up. And sometimes you can feel happy. But it is acknowledging those feelings that we have, I think, for me, is possibly the first step of acknowledging, right, okay, I am in this situation. What can I do? How can I get myself some support, number one? And there's different supports out there and different help that you can go through, but also having that, you know, acknowledging my feelings so I can deal with them. I'm not suppressing them, and because after a while then it's full on burnout, and you definitely look at, you know, all sorts of things like panic attacks and depression and everything else. So burnout is real.
Yeah, it is real.
For sure is real. But I feel that if you're putting the keys under the door because of that, you possibly will go from one
disaster to another. But not quite disaster, but
disaster maybe is a strong word, but maybe is it fire to pan or pan to pan on another one? You're going from one thing to another that is not, you've not healed from that burnout.
No.
And if you don't heal from that burnout, you're not dealing with the deep issue you've got inside of you. Because whatever else you enterprise will most probably will not be as satisfying either. So all you have to do now is press the subscribe button and join us every week for an Inside Chat.
And if you have any burning questions that we haven't yet answered, then just pop in the comments below or send us an email and we can include them in one of our weekly chats.
And also we have started this amazing community of like-minded salon owners to join us on a monthly basis with our Inside Chat subscription.
Yeah, on that chat as well, you'll also get access to lots of free downloads and content that can really support you in your business.
And thank you so much for listening.
And we'll see you next time.